Hello everybody and welcome back to Fantasy Football Fix and to another installment of Eddie versus the Algorithm, the series here on FPL YouTube where we put a man up against a machine for every week of the season and see what is better at FPL. So let's get into things, shall we? We've got game week 22 and the double game week to have a look at the computer generated team, and then I'll put together my own free hit as usual to take a bit of a look at who you guys think is going to score more points. Let's get into things, shall we? So for the algorithm this week, it's going to be a 3-5-2 formation with a predicted points total of 86 there, as you can see at the bottom of your screens. And in goal for the computer is going to be Melier of Leeds. He comes in with those two fixtures in this game week. Nottingham Forest away and Manchester United away are those two games, which, to be honest, I think is a pretty tough set of fixtures. Nottingham Forest are yet to lose at home in their last couple of home games, so I think they've been much stronger at home than they have on the road. And Manchester United, we know how good form they've been in recently, especially at Old Trafford, where Leeds are going to have to face them. So two away games, not ideal, and two teams that have been pretty solid at home. Perhaps not the best chance of clean sheets in there for Melier, but I'm sure he'll be facing plenty of shots. There's definitely going to be potential in there for some save points. And as a one-week punt, I really don't mind it. I don't think there's going to be too many Leeds outfield options that we're going to have to consider, but we'll get onto those in just a moment, I'm sure. In the back three, we're looking at a defensive line of Streak. We've got Trippier and Varane as well. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Please correct me down below in the comments because I've never been able to pronounce it. But yeah, again, I wouldn't be doubling up on the Leeds defence. I don't think there's any outfield defenders who are worth it. But it's interesting to see the algorithm going with a double up there. And then Varane, over someone like a Luke Shaw, has made it into the side. There's two home games for Manchester United in the double against Crystal Palace and Leeds, and some very, very good clean sheet odds for the Red Devils means that I think, yeah, you should definitely have at least one Manchester United defender in. I'm assuming the majority of you watching this video probably own Luke Shaw right now. You're obviously not going to sell him. He returned last night to the Manchester United starting 11 in that game against Nottingham Forest. Getting some minutes under his belt, looks in line for maybe, hopefully, 2 starts in game week 22. So yeah, just stick with Luke Shaw, basically. If you're going to bring a defender in with Luke Shaw back, he now seems the obvious move to go for. Varane's probably not one that we're going to be selecting from an FPL point of view, but interesting to see the algorithm once again going with a centre-back, and it has paid off in the past this year. So it'll be interesting to see whether the computer can prove me wrong once more. And then, of course, we've got Kieran Trippier, who, no matter what fixture, seems to find his way into these teams quite often. He'll be in mine as well, and it's unsurprising given what good form Newcastle have been in, especially at home. They just don't concede goals, and Trippier, even when he gets booked, even when Newcastle do concede, he's in those bonus points all the time, often getting 3 even with a booking. So he's just undroppable right now from our teams, even up against Man City, these tougher sides in the Premier League. I think we have to start him in these games, and the algorithm is backing that up as well. In midfield, we're seeing a midfield 5 this week with 2 Brighton midfielders, 2 United assets as well, plus Rodrigo, who there has been some news about today, and a few kind of rumours that seem to be getting some sort of credibility building regarding Rodrigo's fitness. So hopefully you guys have held off some of your transfers right now, and we can see with some news from the press conferences whether there's any truth to those news of Rodrigo and his injury. There might well be something that's released since I've recorded and you're watching this video, so make sure to keep an eye out on that stuff over on Twitter, etc. So hold fire on Rodrigo would be my move for now. I know he's on the thumbnail of this video, but hold off is my advice. Don't transfer him in until we know something, and even the rumours would probably be enough to sway me away from going for him and picking someone else like another Arsenal midfielder perhaps. But the other midfielders in this side are going to be ones that are going to blank in game week 25, which is something to consider for your guys' long-term teams. Of course, the algorithm is only for a 1-week basis, so it doesn't need to consider who Brighton are playing in their next games. It's seeing they've got Bournemouth in game week 22. That's a very kind fixture. So it's gone with March and Matoma, who offer some great value into that Brighton side. If you're interested, I probably prefer Matoma. Right now, I think he just does look so clinical. He's not perhaps getting the best chances, or even the best chances in that Brighton side, but I do prefer him over Solly March just about, even without the set pieces. And then finally, we've got the 2 Manchester United midfielders, Marcus Rashford, the obvious pick who takes the armband, and then Bruno Fernandes. Now, with Anthony Martial returning, there is a little bit of consideration of whether he's an asset to have. What I would say with Martial is if you own him right now, probably worth holding this game week, but if you don't have him, don't bring him in would be my advice. I think Eddie Nketiah offers a better option, and Bruno Fernandes in midfield is a good pick to go for as well. So Fernandes would still be my second choice Man United asset from the attackers. Going for him looks like a very nice option. You could even consider captaining him if you want a differential, but I do think the best captain option this week is who the algorithm's gone with by sticking the captain's armband on Marcus Rashford, who grabbed 2 assists tonight, even coming off the bench when I'm recording this in that game against Nottingham Forest. So good to see he's still in fine form at home and continuing that run. Up front then, finally, we've got Erling Haaland in the team as usual, alongside Ivan Toney going up against Southampton at home. A little bit of a more interesting one, perhaps a doubler in Nonto could have come into the side there, but Toney has been in some very fine form. He's looking at good goal scoring, going up against a team who are in a relegation battle at home. Always looks pretty good for Brentford, and he's not really getting talked about, Toney, this week, so it'll be interesting to see how he does get on. On the bench is going to be an absolutely stacked bench due to the value the first 11 is offering. The algorithm's got loads of funds and it's just decided to splash it more. Harry Kane comes in at first sub, and I imagine if those Rodrigo injuries are to be believed, that he'll be coming off the bench and slotting into the formation, making it a 3-4-3. We've then got Trent Alexander-Arnold and Estupiñán as well for Brighton, who is going up against Bournemouth in that game. It looks like a very nice pick. So good, in fact, that I've decided to go with him in my own personal side. And this is the team that I've gone with to take on the algorithm for double game week 22. Now, I have gone with Melia in goal as well. I'm aware those reasons I've given before. I think there are better keeper options long term. This week, just going for him, hoping he can maybe pull off a dodgy, jammy clean sheet, get some save points, grab some bonus if he does grab a clean sheet, which I'm sure would probably happen. It would be very likely, I'd say, he'd get max bonus points if Leeds are to keep clean sheets in one of those games at least. We've then gone with Shaw, as mentioned, for those reasons, over Raphael Varane, kept Trippier, and gone with Estupiñán in the defence. I was tempted by a Newcastle double-up just with how good they are right now, but I've gone with Estupiñán. One thing worth noting, of course, with bringing him in, just a reminder, that blank in game week 25, and there's games down the line in game week 28 as well, where it looks pretty certain that teams like Brighton will also blank. We've got to work out our chip strategy to try and navigate those. So do be aware of that when you're looking at players from Man United, Newcastle, Brentford and Brighton, and you're looking at them as potential transfer targets for this week. But Estupiñán, 1 week punt on the free hit team, is definitely going in there this week with that Bournemouth fixture. And I've kept my favourite of the 2 midfield options as well, with Mitoma slotting in. I have gone with Rodrigo, but we've got Odegaard sat there at first sub, who I think is a brilliant option, even in a single game week. And so likewise with Nketiah up front, who I've also gone with from that Arsenal side. Sean Dyche has come in. Can he get Everton looking solid defensively in time for that game against the Gunners? I'm not quite sure. I do back the form that Arsenal are in, and Eddie Nketiah's underlying numbers look pretty unbelievable. So Anthony Martial, we were talking about him. I do think that Nketiah is still a better pick right now. And I think most people, if you still have Martial, the move from Martial to Nketiah next week, when Nketiah has his double game week, looks pretty set in stone and an obvious thing to do. I've kept the armband on Rashford and kept Fernandes in that vein as well, talking about the Manchester United triple up that I think is ideal. It's in this side. And then we've gone with Nonto up front. So I will still have one Leeds attacking asset in the team. I think Rodrigo's absence could hurt them, but Bamford could maybe come in and do some damage in the Leeds side as well. But yeah, Odegaard, it looks like, will be coming in to keep me in the 3-4-3 formation. And the predicted points total with this side of 82 for this game week for me. I've stuck with that second Newcastle defender on the bench as well, with Fabian Schär, and then just Ben Mee as well, who I imagine won't be making an appearance. But Southampton at home does look a pretty good opportunity for that Brentford clean sheet. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. That about wraps everything up. Let me know, as always, down below in the comments, who do you think is going to come out on top this week? The algorithm or myself? Are you Team Eddie or Team Algorithm? Leave a comment down below. And if you want to check out the Assistant Manager tool used to create the Algorithm 11 and loads more, then make sure to check out the links down below in the description. You can find everything Fantasy Football Fix related down there. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone, and I'll wish you the best of luck for Game Week 22. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.